Wrote in babies a whole bunch into the scripts. But as I say, here's another part of the industry that you could fall in love with and not like this part over here.
Yeah, that's great. We do have some questions. Let's go ahead and get to our first of them. Step on up. Did you want to go ahead? Go ahead, yeah. You were there. It's my fault. I kept asking questions. I should have gone to you first. I apologize.
Hi.
What's your name?
My name's Amy.
Hi, Amy.
Hey. So I just want to thank you. I love both your characters in Boo and Tinkerbell. When you were such young, going into voice acting, how did you find your true voice? And was there ever a difficulty in finding a difference from your character to your true voice? And when you have thoughts in your head, what voice character is in your head?
You know what? You're going to hate me. I'm 94 years old and I couldn't quite hear all of that.
So she was asking, when you're doing voice work, how do you separate you, especially younger, getting into the industry?
Just have fun. I'll show you how. All right. We use the phrase, and you probably know this from aha mama. That opens up your throat. Try it, everybody. Aha mama. Aha. Okay, now this time, put it up in your nose. Aha mama. Aha mama. Now put it all the way down into your throat. Oh, see, you can do it. Or you can be Catherine Hepburn and keep it in the middle of your mouth and not move it any place at all. So those are the things that you learn as you go, and it can put you into the character. They have sketches most of the time that you go, oh, I can figure that one out. Secret Agent was very easy. Yeah, you sure? It's as you can imagine, I do like to do. I have a story to tell you. Okay, I have a story. I'm sorry, I'm cutting down on questions here. But when I was adopted, my mother was gone. They never told anybody about your family or anything. You're supposed to never to have remembered it. Well, that's nonsense. I remembered it. But I always had an idea that I was Irish. Always. Excuse me for a minute. There we go. And so when I started on the stage and doing shows and so on, I would tell this joke. And
this is an all ages crowd out here, so okay, just making sure we're all on the same page here.
So anyway,
we heard the dirtiest joke in the Tinkerbell band.
Oh yes, I tell jokes all the time, and the good Lord loves me. So, but anyway, this is in a pub over in Ireland, and these men, two of the guys are talking about diversity. You know, I don't think I'd like to be an Italian, says one, and the other one says, oh, you'd love it. All the girls would be around you. No, I don't think so. And they said, let's go ask Paddy. He'll know. So they go over to where Paddy is, and he's knocking them back pretty good. And they said, Paddy, he says, what is it? What would you be if you weren't Irish? He says, I'd be ashamed. So 50 years later, I found out I was Irish, so it works. But those are the kind of things that you work with and you change and you make people laugh. And that's what show business is all about. You're entertaining people. That is your joy in life. I will go down to East Podunk, Iowa, if they want me to talk at the library. It is my joy to entertain people. That's what I was made for. And after a while, you figure that out.
East Podunk is just south of Des Moines, by the way.
Going off your question, I think, because at first I was just brought in because they needed a little girl to draw, and I was comfortable around everyone. Pete Doctor was the director. I went to preschool with his son, and so I knew him, I knew my dad, I was brought into work before. So it was a comfortable setting for me, and so once they decided to actually use me for the voice, we went into like the actual recording studio. We walked in and my mom saw a crew of like 20 people. She's like, is this all for my daughter? And I thought I was gonna freeze up, and apparently I just walked in like I owned the place. But I think like part of that, so like, I don't remember ever, I think it was just my voice. And even in the audio show that I do now, it's just my voice. I wish I had a bunch of cool like accents and voices, but yeah, so I think, and I don't even think I knew what I was doing, you know. So I didn't even do, until I was about 5, you know. So the movie came out, and I was like, you know, and Cookie Monster would talk to me if they wanted me to say kitty in a certain way, like, oh, what would you say if you lost your kitty? But yeah, I don't remember like trying to think of a voice in my head. I just remember like, you know, it was my dad's work, and I was just being myself, and they followed me around with a microphone, and the sound guy had to wear socks so he didn't make any like footsteps. But yeah, and you asked like the voice, like what character is in my head, and I'm just like singing all the time in my head, so that's what goes on up there.
That's great.
I wish I spoke Irish in my head though.
Hi, come on up. What is your name and what is your question?
Hello, my name is Cassie.
Hi, Cassie.
Being that you guys are both historic parts of the Disneyverse, do you have any plans to visit Marceline, Missouri while you're here? That's where Disney is.
I actually talked to someone came up to my booth today that told me that she is part of a committee that helped kind of something about
Like a historical preservation.
Oh yeah, she's right there. Hey, yeah, she told me about it.
What was it that you were talking about?
Walt Disney, they're the ones that are actually doing it, putting it back up the laboratory.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was just heard about it.
Tinkerbell knows the lady that's running the, she knows who runs Marceline's, the thing for Walt Disney.
Yeah, she came to our booth and we're talking about it. So I just found out about it for the first time like an hour ago, and I would love to see that. Like, fortunate thing about these cons is we normally fly in like the day of and leave the night of, but I actually leave Monday night, and so hopefully Monday day I could kind of do some sightseeing like that.
That'd be nice, yeah.
Been there?
No, and I've been, I don't think so, but I'm 94. I might have been there. I might have been.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a piece of information. I'll make it as quick as I can. As you know, that's the 70th anniversary of the movie Peter Pan. And my friend Jim Korkis, who's probably one of the best history writers of Disney that's around, has written a book called Return to Neverland. And in it, he put some stories. And you may know this story, but I thought you would get a kick out of it. Think back, anytime that you have read about who is going to play Peter Pan in the stage play, which was the original 1906. And from then on, Maud Adams, the great actress, and it goes on and on and on as females that play the, well, there was a male who played Peter Pan. And his initials were W-E-D. Can you guess who that might have been? Yes, it was Walt Disney.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And it seems that Maud Adams traveled with the Peter Pan show on a train, which was quite the thing that they did. And they took the whole cast with them and all of the paraphernalia that they needed. And her train car was called Tinkerbell, by the way. And so she got to Missouri. And they set it up, and they did the show there, and she played Peter Pan. And when the school saw that later on, they decided that they would do the show too, and they chose Walt Disney to be Peter Pan, and his brother was the one who pulled the ropes to let him fly around, and they knocked down a couple of scenery. But you know, it's such fun to think of that, of why he really remembered it and wanted to do it. Yes?
That's fantastic.
So that's a piece of information that Jim Korkis, if you see his book, Return to Neverland, read it. You will be so surprised at the history that he has in there.
Very good. Now you said, speaking of books, there's a passage you wanted to read to us, the only description of Tinkerbell that
Well, I'm showing off when I do it, so is that all right?
Yeah, you have it memorized?
You got it memorized? Step a step.
So I don't know if any of you noticed, but in the movie, and also not in the book, but in the movie, everyone spoke with a British accent except for Bobby. He did not, and Bobby could have done it. He was a great actor. He won a junior award, Oscar. I don't know if you know that. But anyway, there is only a paragraph about that big in the book by James M. Barrie explaining who Tinkerbell is. And if I may, I'm going to do it in an accent. This is just from memory, so, and it goes, in the nursery, the little night lights were burning brightly as Mr. and Mrs. Darling left for the party. But in the time it's taken me to tell you, there was a great light came into the room and was in every pocket and every drawer in the nursery, looking for Peter Pan's shadow. But when it stopped, you realized it was not a light, but it was a fairy, a girl named Tinkerbell, no larger than your hand and still growing. She was dressed in skeletal leaf, cut low and square, which showed her body to best advantage.
Saucy.
That was it. And that man, Mark Gibbs, took that and turned it into Tinkerbell, who is still known. She's recognized in Outer Mongolia.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Okay, I'll shut up now.
No, that's great. So obviously Mark's working from that, but that's not all he's working from, because you are performing this.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit, because you have, again, very little direction there. So how was the collaboration between you and Mark and getting the characters?
Well, if I may, I'm a dancer. Now, I back up to those people who still believe it was Marilyn Monroe who was the lady who did it. Marilyn could not have done it for many reasons. I had worked with Marilyn. I thought she was incredible. She could do anything. However, at that point, she was under contract to 20th Century Fox, and they were building her to be a star. They were not going to loan her out to be a reference model. And secondly, she didn't dance. Later on, she had the greatest moves, but at that point, she didn't. So, may I show you what I did on the first scene that they asked me to do in Mark Davis's office to see whether I could do what they want.
Here, let me move this table out of your way. Okay, go ahead.
This is on the mirror.
I don't get it.
If you look at Tinkerbell, everything that she does is a dancer's walk. One other thing, this is my walk, which is just great, of course. But her walk is a dancer's walk. Do you see the difference?
Yes.
And everything that she does, she poses. Even when she does this, it's a dancer's walk. So Marilyn at that point couldn't have done it, and little old me did it.
What other questions do you guys have? Because we have just a little bit of time left, not a whole lot, but we want to get through
You
as
told
many.
me we had all day.
I did tell you that.
Joey said we had 3-4 hours.
This reconvenes
Bring me some
at
dinner, I'll
the
stay.
bar afterwards.
Well,
It is St. Patrick's Day.
that's true. That's true, man.
Other questions? Can we take you home? To your home or her home?
Oh, she's coming with me.
Hi, what is your name and what is your question?
Hi, my name's Holly.
Hi, Holly.
And I have a question for Margaret. With the Tinkerbell movies that came out, the 3D animated ones, did you watch any of them? Did you like how they characterized her or how they voiced her, or do you prefer her without a voice?
Oh, okay. Whether she should be silent, I don't think Tinkerbell could probably be silent. I mean, she's all female. That's the way I felt. But Mark said to me, he was one of those who decided that she'll do pantomime. And I'm a pantomimist. That's one of the things that I did and why I was called in. But he said, I think it's much more interesting that we do it with the body and the movement. When they made the new Tinkerbell, where she talked with the other fairies that came along, they called me in, and we talked about it, and we talked with the director and all the rest. And then they told me this wonderful thing, because people fell in love with her, that they were going to change her slightly to where she taught a lesson. And if you go back and see all of those pictures that she did with her fairy, there's a lesson in every single one of them. So her talking with Mae Whitman, Mae is an adorable lady, and just was so excited to do the voice of Tinkerbell, I could hardly have her sit down. She's just precious. So to me, it worked, the whole thing worked, and I love the idea that they were moving her along. So that the thing that I didn't like too much was some of the artists that got going to make Tinkerbell look like she was 32 years old and had been around the block. But because I played Tinkerbell as a 9-year-old, and that's an innocent person who could hardly wait to see what happened and not realizing what trouble she could get into. But she was going to find out about it, and it adventure home. So, no, it was fine with me. And Meg, I wouldn't have missed her excitement for the world.
That block that Tinkerbell had been around was in East Podunk, Iowa. That was the particular block.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you, Holly. Good question. Hi, step on up. What is your name and what is your question?
My name is Dion.
Hi.
So my question is for both of you. If you could voice any other Disney character, which one would it be?
If you could voice any other Disney character,
I'm sorry?
If you could voice any other Disney character, which would you like to voice?
Oh my. You start talking, I'll think about that.
That's what I was hoping you would do. That's a hard one.
It is. There's a lot to choose from.
There is a lot. I mean, it would be cool to be one of the Disney princesses, So.
Is there a particular one that stands out to
My favorite was The Little Mermaid, so I'll be Ariel. But yeah, that would be my voice.
you? You have
Good
to sing
question.
for that too.
Oh gosh, okay. I can't hit the high notes, but.
The one that they haven't cast me in yet.
Oh, the next one. There you go.
Hey, haven't been around for 94 years.
That's an actor's answer right there. The next one. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Good questions. Any other questions? Don't be shy. We have just a few minutes left. No? All right. Your loss, because I'm going to ask the rest of them. So tell us a little bit about what you guys have going on. You're in Nostalgia Alley. You're there with a few other folks. Tell us a little bit about how you're set up and what these people can do when they leave here, if they were too shy to ask into a microphone in front of a group of people and they want to come up and meet you. Tell us a little bit about what all you guys have going on this weekend.
Well, like you said, we're in Nostalgia Alley, where there's a celebrity row, but we're like across the alley, so we can't miss us.
And you're right side by side, right?
Yeah, we're right next to each other. We're also with Debbie from Home Improvement. The other two people, I'm over my head, but I'm sure you guys would recognize them. Sorry if they're here. Yeah, we have Margaret selling her book. I got Pops in the screen canister that screams when you open it. And you have a lot of stuff. Do you want to share something that was down there?
No,
What do you have here underneath the couch?
I thought
Here, let me get them for you.
they might get a kick out of
Yeah.
seeing. Yeah, that's in my book. I was 4 years old at the time, and we got started in Midsummer Night's Dream, and I played a fairy.
Oh, wow.
That was the first time that I ever met Mickey Rooney.
Yeah.
That was an interesting time. And then this one, I thought you might like to see me in action. So that's the way.
That's fantastic.
So we have some of those there. Thank you, love. And I just, the idea of having somebody walk up to me and to say, that Tinkerbell's meant so much in their life. I can't tell you what it means. There's no way I can tell you. But I will tell you one little bit of information. I get fan mail for Tinkerbell. I don't know how it came to me, but it ends up in my place, and I'm delighted. And are you ready for this? There's 26 males write to me, men write to me, for one female. It's men that are interested in Tinkerbell and want the pictures. And they're the same guys who sidle up to me and the Michaels that I told you about that roll up their, but they say the nicest things about her. But it's a surprise to me that it's 26-1. So I protect her at all times, and I protect me. I'm not going to do anything dumb, I hope. And the good Lord protects me too, which and Disney has that feeling of love. I have not seen the new movie. It comes out the 24th, the new live action movie. I don't know whether it's going to show the same love that the original did 70 years ago.
Wait, there's a live action Peter Pan coming out?
I think on Disney Plus, yeah.
I pray that it will, because that's what we love. I will tell you a funny story about love. My new husband, I got married 3 years ago. He's now 97, and he can do 100 sit-ups. And
so can I. Every day. One a day for 100.
I can do 40. But anyway, where was I going? You're not
story.
You're bragging about your husband, I think.
But he never saw Peter Pan.
Really?
He never saw an Andy Griffith show. He never saw anything that I was in. And to his credit, we met at doing the Andy Griffith show, Mayberry Days up in North Carolina, up in Mount Airy. I'll remember it. And so I met him up there, and we dated 70 years before.
Really?
75. He is a hero of World War II, and yes. And he was over in Europe for the, not celebration, but the commemoration of D-Day, the 75th one. So they invited him over to be, and he was there with friends, and he had to go to Amsterdam and to pick up the ship that he was going to be touring on with all the rest. And he and his friends, listen to this, he and his friends went driving with a Uber down the road to see what Amsterdam was like, and there across the street, I'm not joking, I have pictures of it, was a store that said, Tinkerbell's Toys. What Tinkerbell was doing in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But anyway, he turned to his friends, he said, did I tell you that I dated Tinkerbell 70 years ago? And they said, let's send her an email. I got a call. I said, of course I remember him. We dated about 15 times. I think that was it. I remembered him all those years. He met me up in Mount Airy because we were doing Mayberry Days. He had driven up after his 94th birthday. He'd driven up for 8 hours. We saw each other, and I think you'll get, I'm going to tell us funny, I think you'll like. Anyway, so he started helping me with all, not knowing anything about showbiz. The 6,000 people that were there, he was helping me with. So we had breakfast the next morning at the Cracker Barrel. And his opening line to me, ladies and gentlemen, was, I have to buy you a new house.
Where are those guys?
I mean, what do you say to that? And then he followed it up, and he has the most gorgeous voice. He followed up and said, but it has to be near Costco's. And I said, what? He said, I shop at Costco's. And to make it light, right? I said, wait a minute, are you telling me you're a member of Costco's? And he said, yes. I said, you have a Costco card? He said, yes. You'd let me use your Costco card? He said, yes. I said, will you marry me? And he said, we'll put it all together, and we were married the next February 14th, St. Valentine's Day. And it was because of Tinkerbell. And God sent them down the right road, because they could have gone down any road. And I didn't know. 3 years, and it's been wonderful. And then he's so pleased that I could come and talk to all of you. And he understands now what the love between Tinkerbell and people is. It's wonderful to watch him grow up and know what's going on. But I thought you'd like that wonderful story.
And I think that speaks to the enduring legacy of both of your characters. It's an innocence, it's a joy, it's that not naive, but childlike wonder at the world. And I think that what you both brought to those is why we're sitting here celebrating both of you, because of what you have accomplished and how it has touched all of us. So let's give a big round of applause for both of our guests today. We absolutely love having you both here. Thank you so much. Again, if we didn't get to your questions, be sure to stop by. Even if you don't have a question, stop by. You've got your book on sale. I know you both have a stack of Funko Pops. So stop by. Be sure to pick those
I
things
have
up.
a canister that screams as you open it.
Is it the one that you drink out of?
Yeah, it's a cup.
Oh yeah, I love those. Until the batteries get wet, and then they
It's not
then they
dishwasher
scream
safe.
all the time. I learned by the hard way. So thank you again, Kansas City. Give a big round of applause. Mary Gibbs and Margaret Kerry. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. Be sure to stop by and say hi to them all weekend long. Thank you guys so much. Again, we're going to have I think we're having game night here in the next little bit. So if you want to stick around for that, do so. Otherwise, we will see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah.
You are welcome to stay in the ballroom for the next presentation.